Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
I'm afraid not every human is as smurfy as they should be, Sapsy.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Yeah, certainly. Here we are.
This pizza pie won't pass. Too many calories. Oh, the rest is okay. Natural light! Get it off me! Get it off me!
I don't know the meaning of the word chip.
Documented Geek Day.
Wildcat, misfiring at Manta. Catch you, diesel brat.
Masked vehicles each sold separately with a figure.
I hate it when they get away. Wildcat, calling Goliath 1.
Tracker here.
Venom Manta got away.
10-4 clutch. You copy Goliath 2?
Loud and clear.
Position transport. I'm leaving the race.
Roger, Matt. Launch Goliath. Ready missile launcher. There's Manta.
Mask.
Fire.
Where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Power to 67 scores. Phantom Striker scores.
Interlocker scores.
Interlocker? What's that?
A new Lord Dread device.
I don't believe it.
Interlocker zeroes in on a TV target, fires invisible beams, and scores. And keeps score.
Or gets hit.
Interlocker scopes out the XT7. Score!
Or be hit. The power of the future is in our hands.
We'll see.
Captain Power figures and vehicles sold separately.
Fantastic.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
That was your
All right.
for David.
Okay, happy Boxing Day. Whatever.
Your
But,
first child be a masculine child or whatever the line is.
we got our buddy Charles from Cartoons and Weed with us tonight. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everybody.
Been a
We're gonna
while?
talk. Yes, it's been a minute. A lot of rescheduling has happened.
Yeah,
Oof.
I mean, it is that
But-
it's the Christmas. It's you know,
Is the season.
it wasn't planned, but it was definitely something we all saw as foreseeable.
Right. But here we are. We're gonna go ahead and talk about some nostalgia stuff that
Yeah.
stuff that makes us feel good.
Feel good.
So, Charles, we'll start with you. Like, I don't know, what was your favorite? Let's say your favorite cartoon growing up as a kid. What would you say that would be?
Well, that one's a little tough one, Saturday mornings.
I
But
feel you. I feel you.
I'd have to say it's got to be a tie between Looney Tunes, Garfield, TMNT, and the Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, the real Ghostbusters.
All acceptable for sure. Yeah. Okay. Now you want to go crazy, girl. We got to guess. But yeah, the Real Ghostbusters. I remember that very well from when I was like very young, because as we know, I'm the baby of the group.
Yeah, you are.
Then of course TMNT. Like, who didn't love that shit?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the reason I eat. It's the reason I eat pizza.
Back then, like now it's like preschool shows and stuff like making it big, and yeah, like normal cartoons are just like gone off the map basically. It either has to be like edgy for adults or it's like little kid based. We had like the raunchy humor and everything in our cartoons. That was
newer stuff has to have silly hidden shit all over the place.
Yeah.
It can't just be a cartoon. It can't just be a story.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some, like there's a there's a few newer ones. Like Cartoon Network was responsible for a couple for a while. Craig of the Creek was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, like that was a pretty good cartoon. The entire series was actually decent. So Owl House came from Disney, I think XD, right before they got rid of all that. I mean, that was a good cartoon as far as things go, but there weren't many. Most of them were just either too over the top ridiculous or too adult in nature.
Yeah.
There's a sweet spot that they missed entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody remembers it or not, but I'm like the Toon Disney and before generation. Darkwing Duck, Aladdin, The Princess Power Hour, stuff like that.
Channel 46 in Georgia every day after school, starting at 2 o'clock.
Okay,
I think it was channel.
In the
I think it was
afternoon.
channel 28.
I think ours was 27.
In the afternoon.
No, ours was 28 too.
Yeah, I think it was 28 for us because 26 was USA.
Yeah.
26 was USA in Georgia too. I want to say I do remember going there many times.
Speaking of USA, does anybody remember the Cartoon Express?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
And the Cartoon Express was definitely a good show. It was a mixture of a little bit of everything to splash your day with.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it.
Used to be the shit.
Am I remembering correctly? Like Cartoon Network actually had USA a little bit to thank for coming into existence, didn't they? Wasn't there something about that? Like it wasn't just like Cartoon Network just spawn out of the Hanna-Barbera shit. There was actually like an entire chain.
Yeah.
Starting from another network, and I think it was USA.
I think it was USA.
Well, Cartoon Network was owned by Turner, I think.
Yeah, that would make it TBS and stuff like that.
TBS, TNT,
Yeah.
They were owned by Turner, then Adult Swim, which I guess was a subsidiary, but not actually part of Cartoon Network, which is why they had separate offices in Atlanta. I think there's a whole fucking thing about that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There was a moment, right? There was a brief moment at the end of the 90s and up into the early 2000s where shit was like coming on track to be really fucking cool again.
Yeah.
Like Metalocalypse, for example, popping up on Adult Swim. That was a great fucking show.
Yeah,
Brendan Small stuff, even home movies. The original Brendan Small outing was wonderful. It's an awesome show.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went to shit.
Fucking Aqua Teen. Aqua Teen was my favorite.
Aqua Teen is still a blast, dude. I will sit down and watch that entire series right now. We can stop recording and fucking screen share that shit. I would smoke the fucking 10-year-old weed.
There were so many fucking golden moments in that show.
Yeah, that was a good one. No, I mean, I don't know. To me, Adult Swim kind of fell off. It just.
It did.
I don't know. Like I
fell hard.
I'm for all that subliminal bullshit in the commercials, and I'm not all for that. You know,
there was
everything.
Yeah,
like I get you do you in a cartoon. If you want to do Satan in a cartoon, that's fine. Brisky Dingo, what was the other one? Lucy of the Devil, something like that. That was cool, but then every single show became something stupid about the same shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of why people aren't interested anymore, because it's always got to be some. Here's my opinion, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the only one that.
Though. Like they did open up the world to an entire, like you had what was it, Ugly Americans used to come on MTV on what was it, after Adult Swim, right? Y'all know Ugly Americans, right?
That was the shit, man.
Fucking hilarious show, right? That show I feel like was sort of the breach into what everything became after that. Maybe that's just my opinion, because that's what I was like. You had Liquid Television, and then you had that show, and then you know what I mean? Like it was like you had shorts, you had that thing, and then you all of a sudden Adult Swim popped up, and you had Aqua Teen.
What was Liquid Television the Max and the Head and stuff like that?
Yeah, the Head was on there. The Max that's where it got its first animated debut, which is sad because they never got to complete it. And it did, like the whole story. Honestly, like the story for the comic books is actually pretty fucking cool. You never expect it from a comic book. It doesn't make any sense for a comic book. It worked. But yes, the Max, the Head, Aeon Flux, Slow Bob. Slow Bob was one of the things on there. I mean, there was so much.
I don't think I remember Slow Bob. I'll have to check that one out.
Slow Bob was not. It was literally a stop animation version of a person moving across a road. That's all it was. It was the dumbest shit in the world, but it fucking worked. It worked on that show.
I mean, let's look at the time period. Tom Green had a #1 on MTV, so it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember I saw a clip earlier, probably a week ago. They were talking, like Tom Green was talking about the fact that they had to retire his song, not because it wasn't being requested, but because Eminem had a new song, and it wasn't charting because his song was in the way.
Yeah.
So this whole thing had to retire the Bump Bump song.
I could see it. I could see it.
That's true. That's the funny thing.
I hated that show.
Oh, it's sad for bum bums all over the world, and it's also it was sad. Tom Green's comedy though, like I am not a Tom Green fan. I'm just not. It's not that I don't get where it's coming from, but sometimes you get like the try hard humor that I hate.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so absurd that it comes like Freddy Got Fingered is funny one time through. The second time it's just not. It's just all fucking mean and shitty. You know?
It's fucking Andy Dick. It's kind of the same story there.
No, except for Andy Dick's a fucking twat.
Yeah, that's you.
He is.
He is such a self-centered piece of shit. Like, I don't know the guy personally. Can I say he's a self-centered? No, I cannot. I cannot say it because I do not know him as a person. But I can say I've never seen an interview that didn't make me want to hit him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a visceral reaction to somebody you've never met in your life. You see their face and you're like, man, that is punchable. That's fucking weird, dude. Like, you get over that in first grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just like wrestling. It's just like a gimmick. But then again, every character he's played, everything down to the roast. I get what you're saying.
Well, that's the fucked up part, right? Like, if you go look at Zoolander, Andy Dick shows up in a weird cameo where he's the masseuse. You know what I mean? He was great because he didn't say a fucking word. Not a word out of his mouth. He was suddenly acceptable. I didn't mind him at all. So it's really only when he talks somewhere. Even on news radio, like I could watch that for Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Well, I can watch
Stephen Root.
anything Phil Hartman ever did. I could watch for Phil Hartman.
Oh yeah.
Strictly, even if it was the biggest pile of shit, if Phil Hartman was in it, I'm gonna.
Because he was still great. He was still Phil Hartman.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's like Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, exactly. No, I'm tired of this stupid shit in this stupid movie. Give me my check. Bye.
Right.
Wonderful man.
It could be a 3-hour piece of shit movie, but those two people would make it.
He's great.
Fantastic.
But
we started with cartoons though.
We're going all over the place in history.
When we were talking about Adult Swim and everything, it got me on the mindset of like late night, like television, not like talk shows, but shows like, you know, Metalocalypse.
Yeah. Shows that like when you're
shit
coming
that
home,
came on after from 10 p.m. on, you know, like
I mean,
the forbidden hour. You know,
you like come home drunk and just put on Aquatine and just fall asleep.
Either that or like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was Syphil and Ollie on MTV.
Yeah. Jesus, what a weird fucking show. Like it was.
Boy, was that fun.
I got a guilty pleasure for y'all. I don't know if y'all are into the anime or not, but to me, it's like foreign cartoons, whatever. But Inuyasha, that's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know what the fuck it is. Maybe it's the dog sits. I don't know. But you gotta watch it.
You got sucked into you got sucked into an anime storyline. That's the thing. There's anybody who is not an anime fan. I understand it because honestly, if you've watched one of them, you've seen all of them. Like really, I mean that visually. I'm not talking about the story. The stories can always be different, but physically, actual illustrations and animation. If you have watched any anime, you have seen every anime.
Yeah.
Right.
I can understand somebody not wanting to explore that further, but there are some incredible storylines out there. The problem is you have to dodge some really weird shit to find them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
the reason why I bring up Inuyasha is because Adult Swim, Toonami used to be one of those things that was really, really big back in the day.
off from Robotech.
Yeah, Toonami was
Off from
huge.
Robotech.
Right. And see, like, I was working at McDonald's back in the day, and every time that I take my little break, that'd be my little guilty pleasure. I didn't care who was up in there looking at me crazy. I was sitting there eating my little sandwich and watching me some Inuyasha. So,
Toonami is like the Gen X version of Adult Swim, in my personal opinion. Like it was a big thing, and like everybody was into it, and
But you didn't know what was coming up. Like they actually went and got some like current Japanimation flicks, like things that were big overseas, and they dubbed them over here. And it was cool. It was an introduction to an entire generation of people. Like, it's not just fucking weird movies with drawn boobies. I mean, it is too. Also, there's going to be some tentacles with penis tips. That's happening.
well, see, another weird thing about Toonami they did was after school, it wasn't just anime. It was Beast Wars, Transformers Beast Wars, Real Adventures of Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
I mean, those are definitely sit down to watch shows.
There was a bright, shining moment. There really was. Like, there was a wonderful moment right there at the end of the 90s and the early 2000s where it just everything coming out with something new and something fucking Mission Hill. Did y'all ever watch Mission Hill?
Fucking Mission Hill was my shit, dude.
The Oblongs was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was everything. Like I feel like the Oblongs kicked off right around the time that Family Guy originally kicked off. Like there was this whole like attempt at the animation domination shit that Fox later did, but there was a point where it was the Oblongs, Family Guy, and there was like two others. It wasn't Mission Hill. Mission Hill was an MTV thing, but there were like two other shows too, and I cannot remember them. But they were fucking hilarious. They were awesome.
Right.
And then of course everything went to shit. Everything got canceled, and then they were like, "Wait a second, Family Guy made money," and they brought it back. All because of Adult Swim, by the way. Adult Swim showing reruns of the shit, and they were just like, why are there not more seasons?
Right.
I mean, truthfully, I kind of feel like a lot of people stopped being into cartoons because instead of coming out with a brand new cartoon or a spin-off cartoon, we're going to reboot, restory, and everything of the old stuff. And everybody's so used to a specific animation style for that show. So, for example, like Teen Titans, Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go only did so well because of the whole weirdness from the original.
It was not Teen Titans though. It was a jokey, fucking satirical version of Teen Titans.
Yeah.
I agree. However, if you look at shows like Jellystone or whatever that is, I can't even sit through it all. It's got its funny moments, but it's not all that great. Another one is the Thundercats Ho or whatever. I'm sorry, but
not at all. Like honestly, when you go back to Thundercats, like even when I was a kid, like I liked Thundercats. I had the toys and shit, but it wasn't a great show.
Yeah.
Like everybody looks back and they're like, "Oh, it was amazing," except for if you really stop for a second. The storyline was kind of weak. The animation, the characters looked cool, but the animation wasn't that great. It was not as good as memory would have you believe it'd be. It was just better than what's offered now.
I mean, I can still sit through it and stuff, to be honest with you. It's not like Brave Star. I can't sit through Brave Star as an adult, but I could. I loved it as a kid.
Well, okay, so fair enough. I watched Brave Star when I was a kid, just like, what was it, Cops? You remember the show?
That was great as a kid.
That. Well, fucking Craig, we like when you were still doing the animation stuff, right? I told you to look up Bionic 6 because I have memories of Bionic 6 being just the best fucking cartoon. Except when I watched it, I was like, man, this looks really bad. It looks really bad. Storylines are complete garbage. And how the fuck is this actually happening? How do they not know who they are? All they're doing is wearing t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It is something you can only appreciate as a kid because you're willing to suspend disbelief. So back to Thundercats, incidentally, it's only because the overall, like as an adult, you look back and the overall story is like these creatures launch off their planet because it's fucking dying. And incidentally, the main character is still technically a 10-year-old, even as a full-grown adult, because he never really got to mature as he was in suspended animation on the way to this other creature's planet. By the way, said another creature would like them to get the fuck off and stop trying to set up shop. That would be Mumra. Not his fault. He's not wrong. Like they showed up and they were just like, "Hey, this is our fucking mountain. This is our mountain in our world now." And he's like, "No,
Right.
no, I was asleep for like 10,000. What? No." And everybody's like, "He's the bad guy."
Yeah.
I mean, I see your logic considering the fact that I feel like Batman himself is the villain. You know what I mean? Like, if you look up some of the comics, I mean, for real, look up some of the old comic books. He's literally got the bat symbol on his boot, which means he wants to profit off of the fucking bat boot or some shit.
Right. Well, no, all things are bat things. Is he peeing? He's peeing with the bat penis. Like, it's very important that you understand. Like, it's branded. It's overall branded. He is one of the. He's in the top 1%. He knows what he's doing. He's laying down a bat beatdown. That's what he's doing.
I mean, yeah, I think every other little storyline inside of the Batman animated series went over it. Like, dude, we wouldn't be here if you wouldn't have fucked up. So.
No, that is actually a comic book. I can't remember what storyline, but they were going through it and being like, without Bruce Wayne, there would be no like. No, it was Cacophony. It was the Kevin Smith, the Batman story, right? He never got to finish it, which is shitty. But he did. He wrote an entire thing in there, whereas the Joker has a moment where he's been forced to take his medication and whatnot. And he's in a hospital, and Bruce Wayne shows up in disguise, and he knows it's Batman. He knows it's Batman in disguise, and he's like, "You don't get it. I don't hate you because I'm crazy. I am crazy because of how much I hate you." And that's it. Like, all of Batman's villains would not exist without Batman being in Gotham. Yeah. Like, every single one would be like, well, fuck it. There's other places we could go to do this. Why are we?
Right.
I gotta check that one out. Like, that's badass.
It's a great story. Like, you got a bunch of shit for it. It's a very good story.
I mean, we also had like so many obscure shows too, like fucking Moo Mesa and shit. Anybody remember that in like the Bill and Ted?
I love the Cowboys and Moo Mesa, even.
Yeah, Cowboys and Moo Mesa. Yeah, and then even MC Hammer had a cartoon. It was just like the Wild.
I remember that.
They could fucking do anything.
I remember the MC Hammer
cartoon.
New Kids on the Block. See, the thing is there was an old saying. It is like, if you were going to be turned into a cartoon in the 80s and early 90s, that was the end of your career if you wanted to be a rap star, a rock star, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing with wrestling. Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling might be the only exception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of the
the Ace Ventura cartoon. Does anybody remember that?
Yep.
Very much.
There was a mask one too.
There was a mask one, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Ace Ventura one, I feel, didn't get near the chance that it deserved.
Yeah.
Because I watched that back recently. There was a Dumb and Dumber cartoon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that I didn't know.
I was going to say that's probably oversaturation of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That wasn't even the cartoon's fault. That was just because you couldn't turn without like running into somebody being like, "Alrighty," you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Not his fault. I mean, he's good at what he did. There's a reason that it became so popular.
Yeah.
It's, like a classic is a classic for a reason. It's just at the time it was a bunch of executives throwing everything they could at the wall and anything they thought would stick, especially because they didn't understand the landscape of the humor anymore. They didn't like Ace Ventura when it came out was not supposed to be good. Like, nobody thought it was going to be good. They tried to bury it when they released it. They were like, "There's nobody that's going to watch this. It's absolute garbage. It's crap." And suddenly, an entire generation of people were like, "Well, that's fucking hilarious." And it's
we call those, all that the grunge generation. Bunch of potheads.
Yeah,
it was like
saw a funny ass movie.
Introducing Quackers, little ducks with a lot of flavor. So now, all the cheddar cheese flavor of a cheddar cheese puff is in a little duck. And all the sour cream and onion flavor of a sour cream and onion chip is also in a little duck. New flavor-coated Quackers in sour cream and onion, crispy original and cheddar. A lot of flavor in a little duck.
If you're still using soap, break through to the zestful side of clean. This is all it takes.
Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Zest deodorant lathers you clean, then rinses you cleaner. Cleaner than soap. Soap leaves a sticky film behind, but Zest rinses clean away.
Zestfully clean.
No soap leaves you feeling cleaner.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
No, actually, we probably have Jim Carrey to thank for quite a lot of the things we find funny as shit.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. That man, trailblazer, is just one word.
Plus, as Jerry Lewis was to the French.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. At one point, it was a little too much, but then,
yeah,
what was it, 23 or I think it was the number 23.
Number 23. That's
yeah. When he did that showed the inside of his head to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like that was the movie to me that proved he could do more than just his slapstick comedy shit.
Yeah,
because like I didn't like the Truman Show enough to really give it an opinion. Same thing with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, serious movies were kind of like they were hit or miss.
Man on the Moon was fucking great.
Oh yeah.
See, I thought Man on the Moon was too
wildly inaccurate, but great.
Yeah.
Defining inaccurate. I mean, the fact, like, they were trying to make a biopic about a guy who made it a point to make it hard to understand who the fuck he was.
Exactly. I know, but like, there was just a lot left out. But like, reasonably so, Danny DeVito was playing his fucking agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't really do a lot of this shit because Danny DeVito just wasn't in Taxi, apparently.
Oh, Lottie.
No, like you're saying, Charles, like that, the number 23, like it showed you how deep into himself that Jim Carrey can go for a role.
Right. And I mean, it's not just that. Around the same time of that movie, he was going through the suicide pill incident.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it shows the inside, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, after that, I kind of had respect for the man because he had to fight for himself. He didn't care about being in the limelight. He pulled himself away. I mean, I have respect for the man on that part. I mean, especially in order to stay on top, you have to be in the limelight, constantly pushing yourself out there. And him and Rick Moranis both were like, let me go do my own thing for a minute.
Moranis, that guy.
Big ups to Rick Moranis too.
Yeah, he did a lot of voice acting in cartoons. I mean, I can't name them off the top of my head.
Gravedale High was one.
Yeah, and that was a
Little
good
Shop of Horrors, didn't they? Yeah, they had a Little Shop of Horrors cartoon too. I don't know if he was actually a part of that, but I know he was in Gravedale High.
He was.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure about the others, but speaking of all those other ones, like based off of movies, Problem Child, Back to the Future, stuff like that.
Clerks.
Right.
Oh, the Clerks cartoon. I love that.
original Clerks cartoon, not the Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Second and third versions.
Yeah. That fucking cartoon.
Or the
Like another late night love, the Clerks cartoon.
What's funny about the Clerks cartoon too is like if you're a completionist as far as the shows that you like to watch or whatever, if you like Kevin Smith, if you're a View Askew person, you actually have to watch the cartoons too. Even if you're not into animation, you have to watch the cartoons because it all goes together.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like the Persian Rug and the Big Lebowski, it really ties the room together.
it ties the room. Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know about the Persian Rug. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Oh, good God. Tell you this much: your living room will never be the same.
Yeah.
God, man, this is just a list of a deep dive that I have to do. No.
We were just born in that time when they would put anything on fucking TV just to sell toys.
Yeah.
It's the same with Power Rangers. Like,
oh, do you guys remember Insectours?
yeah.
Yes.
Insectours, man, that cartoon never even came out. I don't think.
No.
I know that they sold the toys in advance because they were positive that they could do it just because He-Man did so well.
Yeah.
I had the toys. I had one of the toys. I got one for Christmas. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like I was a kid, I had no idea. I was like, "Why was there a glove with a bug on it?"
Mad Balls and Barnyard Commandos were ones that I never knew were cartoons until I knew were cartoons. I always had the toys first. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember those or not, but Barnyard Commando with the Rams and the pigs going about it. Yeah.
Oh no, it was awesome. You could put the missile on the back of the sheep.
Yeah, and just about every little kid out there had one of those little rubber, squeaky little things that sucked up water and shot it at each other. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Those things are fun. I remember my cousin and I were playing with them one time, and mine broke. I can't remember what exactly happened, but I just remember tackling my cousin and stealing his, just so I can have an advantage in the water war.
That's about how that works.
Story short, not allowed any type of Thanksgivings.
No, that would have been on Memorial Day because Thanksgiving in
No
Pennsylvania.
more Memorial Days then. when the family gets together to celebrate Memorial Day.
I don't understand it either.
Yeah.
We turned it into a barbecue and volleyball.
See, I'm not normal. We don't do the whole family gatherings and stuff. So.
Oh, I don't do that shit anymore. This was 30 years ago, you know.
Oh, even then, that's kind of why I love cartoons as much as I do. Because honestly, like when you're like kicked out of the family at 15 and you're just chilling, you know what I mean? It was fucking epic watching all that in the day.
Yeah,
it's a peaceful, non-intense moment.
Right, like Fox Kids and Saturday mornings was like definitely a good thing all the way up until like early 2020s, or not 2020s, but mid 2000.
Yeah, 2002, I think it started to really
be like
completely different.
Yeah,
that's why
I mean, honestly,
I don't care what anybody says. I will always love that show because they can like pull stuff out of their ass and still make you laugh.
It's like, not that; it's the repetition. After a while, it's same as like let's say, all right. So we mentioned Family Guy earlier, right? It's a hilarious show. You watch the first 10 seasons of that.
Yeah.
Even now, if you sit down and rewatch it, it's fucking hilarious. Watch it back to back.
Yeah.
And it's not Seth MacFarlane's fault. It's not any of the other voice actors. It's not even the writers. It's just what was once funny becomes so expected. Like there is no humor involved anymore. Like you watch a new Family Guy episode, it'll amuse you. It'll pull you in for a second, but like the more you watch it, the more you're like, man, it's just mean now.
Yeah.
Except it was always kind of mean. It's just now it's more obvious.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Charles.
I was going to say, ever since Disney bought all of that Fox crap, everything's been nerfed down and forced upon. Like, I get it, you own it, but I don't want to see Bambi in every episode or Maleficent in every episode.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's fair.
Now, but then you get shows like Futurama, which, in my opinion, every new season has been funny.
Still Matt Groening.
Right. He still has his hands in it.
Yeah, but he cared more about Futurama than he did The Simpsons. Like he stopped with The Simpsons.
Well, no shit.
Futurama, which is after something loose after 20 years, and be like, I got to do this. You know what I mean? Like that's I would follow the creator on that. Like what made you love The Simpsons, you're really gonna love about whatever he puts his heart into.
And Futurama is just consistent. Like each season, you're gonna laugh.
They're great by themselves. Like individually, you don't even have to follow the overall arcing storyline. You can sit down and watch any season.
Right.
Fucking great.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, Only complaint that I had was is they started it back over after ending it so perfect, but then after picking it back up, I don't see absolutely anything wrong with the way they did it.
Yeah,
I
no.
do not
They're-
see that though, like that. The idea because it was like the Leela, the time and time after, or time and time again show, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Right.
The episode which they just kept repeating, and it's like it finally like
Mhm.
it was the beginning, and it was what it was meant to be, and all that crap was a brilliant ending. You're absolutely correct about that. But also, he didn't. From my understanding, Granny never wanted to stop doing it. He thought that there was more to tell. He was just giving a heads up about the fact that they weren't going to be renewed, so they wrapped it up.
Right. And that was the thing about Futurama was it was being passed around and chopped off so many times. You kind of the fans were like, we want more, but we never got it in one set. You know what I mean? We had to wait all these years to get that complete version.
Yeah.
But it's funny, every time they come out with a new season, I start the whole fucking show over again.
Oh, because you always can.
Yeah.
Well, like Fry's
Yeah, because-
voice actors, right? I mean, like everybody can.
Yep.
Like, it's funny. I actually, the whole thing about John DiMaggio doing like coming back as Bender and him being like, they didn't even offer it to me or whatever it was. I think that's bullshit. I think he was always in the running. He was always the guy they were going to do it, but they had to drum up interest. They wanted to make sure. I think it was a PR move. I don't think they ever considered even for a moment making somebody else Bender.
I mean, honestly, I don't remember anything about any hype up about a different Bender other than the fact
There
that
was
they
a
were
thing,
trying
like,
to pay the money.
Was or supposedly said that nobody had even been in contact with her to do Leela.
I remember that.
And a bunch of people were annoyed by that. And then John DiMaggio shows up and he's like, nobody's talked to me about Bender. And then there was a thing that hit the fucking trade saying that Bender had been recast. And then there was a whole back and forth with John DiMaggio and fucking the Futurama producers. And then it was like, okay, we came to an agreement, which happened to occur like a week before it was being released.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
You
there ain't no
didn't go
way.
into record a season's worth of shit in a week, buddy. You didn't do it. But I do
Right.
think it was clever. It was a good move. It's like the negative PR push to get people interested. I mean, it was.
And that would be a Bender move too, wouldn't it?
Oh, it absolutely would.
Yeah.
Which is another funny thing. Like you can't even fault the character. The
Yeah.
character actor behind it is like, no, that makes sense. Sounds right.
Right.
It was a good move. The show has not lost quality moving to Hulu. Otherwise, it's still Futurama.
Yeah.
Right. And see, that's another thing I was going to mention, like the Animaniacs. I mean, we're talking about reboots earlier. The Animaniacs, I was not impressed by the new one. However, the new Tiny Toons, I give it like
There's a new Tiny Toons?
Yes. 9
To
out
be
of 10.
honest, I haven't tried it because of Animaniacs, but I'll give it a shot. You say it's worth it.
It is. It is. Now they do have slight changes. You have to get used to not hearing the no relation anymore. They are now how they put it, paternal or whatever twins.
Yeah, fraternal twins.
Yeah, there's a few variations, but I promise you, once you get used to the change of the lyrics and the theme song and a couple of other things, it's on point. I promise you.
All right. I'll have to look into that because I love Tiny Toons when I was a kid.
Oh, Tiny Toons was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Acme Luna versus Pee Wee or an Archangel. Fucking catchy ass theme song, everything.
Tell me a single person over the age of like say 35 that doesn't know the whatever goes down the whole thing.
Right.
Water go down the hole.
Or
Water
the
go down the
elevator
hole.
go up the hole.
Elevator go down the hole.
Oh man.
And once again, there was a brief moment. It was when I say brief, there's about a decade, maybe a little over, from 95 forward, that everything that came out was just fucking golden. And I don't know if that's a reflection of my age, or if that's just because there was a time period where shit was just fucking better.
I mean, it's all on perspective. I mean, it really is because honestly, I like the throwbacks. I like the real bad throwbacks, like Popeye, Betty Boop, Felix the Cat.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, dude, I love all that old shit.
Yeah, there's even an old 100-year-old cartoon people don't even remember called Farmer Grampy or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but it's called Farmer or something or another. You'll have to look it up. And it's just this old man riding around on tractors and stupid shit, just making fun of jokes. Old school Looney Tunes up to a certain point. Like Private Snafu, I think, is going back a little too far.
I'm not one of the Looney Tunes I like, even the really ridiculous shit that doesn't pass muster today. It's not that it's not that I approve of it for its content. I like it because they were sticking to whatever made it funny at the time or what they did. And it's kind of important for it to be shown. You should see it. Like from a historical standpoint, if you never run across that shit, you should definitely watch it. Get an idea of why.
I mean, I got all that. But see, the Private Snafu is the exact reason why I took that whole hit on Facebook. So that's why I'm like,
oh, that's fair. Well, I was gonna say, even if you like one of the more famous Looney Tunes cartoons, you have Bugs Bunny and the Gremlins dealing with them on the airplane, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Literally, he drops the word Jap so many times. You know what I mean? Like he is. It's very much a pro-American thing. It was meant to be shown to soldiers dealing with shit at the time. I get it.
Yeah, some of it became like propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was complete propaganda. And even worse, it's once again, it should still be shown. The Speedy Gonzalez shit, which by the way, was hilarious when the Speedy Gonzalez stuff got booted. It was actually the I forgot what the name of the group was, but it was basically the Mexican version of the NAACP. Wanted it put back in because it was their representation in American cartoons.
Yeah.
They wanted it added back in. It wasn't because they were like, they're kids. They're not taking it that way. That doesn't matter to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like it added back in. I'm not sure that they were right about it, but I get what they were saying. The whole thing, it should still be shown. Kids should see that. They should get an idea of where the fight comes from.
I feel it. I really do. I didn't think the Gremlin episode fell under banned cartoons, though.
No, you can still see it on occasion, but it isn't like when I was a kid. That thing was in heavy rotation. You could every morning when I woke up, you would see it easily every time in every single like shift of the shows on TNT.
Yeah,
right.
It's just after a while it stopped being shown so much, and then it became like maybe once a week, and then it was maybe once a month, and then it just stopped. The last time I saw it was because they were showing a cartoon on AMC, of all things. Like they popped up with it, they would be like, "This is one of the problems with old animation," and they were.
Well, a lot of the old Looney Tunes actually fall under the public domain now, and that's probably why. And a lot of the Space Jam, for instance, is one of the ones where they're like, do we get paid for all of these mugs and shirts with all of our likenesses on it? I mean, and then the Gremlins 2 cartoon, they pop up in there at the very beginning to get the movie started and stuff. They're trying to hype themselves up in these different movie situations because literally at that time period, they were losing copyrights back to back to a lot of those cartoons and couldn't make no more money off of them. So I think 1935 to 36 or something like that. Anything before that time period falls under public domain.
Yeah, do you know what got it stopped though? Like the reason why it goes to that time period?
Disney.
Disney fucked it up. Public rights to everything.
Yep.
All because of Mickey. But although that's gone.
Mickey Mouse.
Not well.
Steamboat Willie is in the public domain.
Oh, hey man, look at the universe.
Hey, we got one good movie out of it. I cannot wait till the next one.
What is it? Pinocchio. There's going to be a Pinocchio one. There's already a Mickey Mouse.
Well, I'm saying the Steamboat Willie movies.
Oh yeah,
like the Mousetrap, fantastic movie.
I haven't seen it. I'm just happy that it gets to exist. That's what makes me happy about it. Like you had,
but we're getting another one next month called Screamboat with David Howard Thornton voicing Mickey Mouse.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly the way ideas were meant to go. Like there was a cartoon or not a cartoon. I'm sorry, a movie in the early. I want to say the early '90s, maybe the early 2000s. Honestly, it's hard for me to specify. Was it Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead? The two characters. Yeah. Okay, so except it's basically Shakespeare, but with zombies. Why? Because you can take that story, and you can easily do that because it was all in the public domain. You cannot argue and be like Shakespeare is owned by somebody. Nobody can do that.
Right.
Disney fucking destroyed storytelling by continually fighting to change copyright laws. I got why they did it. Yeah, defend your intellectual property or whatever, but you fucked up storytelling. Like, you literally made it impossible for new people to come in, take your, like, I mean, fan fiction as it exists, literally most of the stories we really like, the stuff we enjoy, is because some person really enjoyed an older story and decided to write some fucking fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'm not a Twilight person at all, but that should exist because somebody enjoyed something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they wanted to make their own version of it. They wanted to make it different, better, and something that appealed to them, and that appeals to other people. Not me. Once again, I'm going to point this out. Not me. Never me. Fuck your sparkly vampires. Vampires don't fucking. They don't have glitter blood either. Craig, you're with me on that.
Yeah. It is. It's Twilight of the
Vampires
80s.
don't sparkle. Vampires don't sparkle. They burn.
Yes, and then they explode into glitter clouds.
No, they do
Holy
not.
water. Or when provided with death by stereo.
Death by
You
stereo.
know, speaking of vampires and stuff, me personally, my favorite vampire movie of all time is John Carpenter's Vampires. Second favorite, Bram
A
Stoker.
very, very good one. Very
Damn,
good
what
one.
a great fucking movie. What a wonderful movie, man. Bringing it back to what a vampire is supposed to be. This is an unholy creature of the night that literally can't face God's judgment in the form of daylight. That is fucking wonderful.
The world looks mighty good to me, 'cause Tootsie Rolls are all I see. Whatever it is I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me. Tootsie Roll, how I want your chocolate chew. Tootsie Roll, I think I'm in love with you. Whatever it is I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me.
Let's have breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner. Nothing is finer than breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner. Dinosaurs, tiny dinosaurs like you never saw before. Fruited dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are a big part of this nutritious breakfast.
4 more balls.
They're coming up.
Nothing is finer than breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner. Dinosaurs.
No dinosaur cereal.
Just the way
Yeah.
that they drag them all out of there and stuff. I mean, epic movie.
I'm very angry about what was done to vampires. It bothers me a lot. Like, there was a whole time period. Like, even like John Carpenter's Vampires, which I'm sure you'll agree, had some gnarly fucking kills.
Yes.
Gnarly kills in that fucking movie. Beautiful, beautiful setups and kills. And even the lore was adjusted a little bit. Like the whole idea of like a fledgling vampire that has a turn can act as the eyes of the master and all that shit. Like there was a bunch of thought put into it without overstepping and turning it into they're very pretty and also they're disco balls when the sunlight hits them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I can't keep shit on her Stephanie Meyer stuff. I mean, she cared about it. I didn't. I'm a little angry about it. I'm bitter.
No, I'm right there with you, bud. I can't. I never understood that. Or why would you make them sparkle?
Well, I don't know. I'm vaguely bitter about the Lost Boys, though. So I mean, that's.
I mean, that didn't bother me near as much as fucking sparkly skin.
Sorry about that, man.
Oh,
But
yeah,
everybody gives Twilight heat, but Angel is where it started, and that also has 14 episodes.
Boy vampires.
That's what I'm saying.
I forgot about it.
Everybody wanted that little sexy vampire, and that's how it was. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel.
Which
Yeah.
pisses me off too, because I watched Buffy. Like I was a Buffy fan.
I love Buffy.
I thought it was good, but he's right though. If you go back and look at it, it's like it is a teen drama. It was written with way too much exposition and way too much conversation for the subject matter. Like you have a town literally built over an entrance to hell that demons and otherworldly creatures are trying to open in order to usher in the apocalypse. And you guys have time every single episode to go and like have a burger at your local restaurant and then go to your underage fucking club to not drink?
Well, I mean, that's like Archie's Weird Mysteries, okay? Like, that's another cartoon, Archie's Weird Mysteries. Every episode, some weird shit. Every episode, maybe 2 or 3 in one episode. But, I mean, you're going to go over here, you're going to have your milkshake and, like, munch out like you Shaggy Rogers and then be chased around by ghosts or weird worms or whatever. The same thing with Goosebumps. What in the fuck was going on in that town? And I
have no idea.
Wasn't even anybody's fault there. They didn't have a choice.
I know. R.L. Stein. He was bored.
What's not even that? When you think about it, like seriously, in every one of those books, it's like, hey, I've discovered a fucking ventriloquist dummy that somehow or another is wearing mind paint and carries a knife. Bring it home,
right?
A little sister.
Between the Goosebumps books and the Fear Street books, that was my shit back in the day growing up. And
dude.
Animorphs was another one.
Animorphs, yeah, dude. Remember the show they did based on them?
Yes, I think it was on Nickelodeon for a short while.
Yeah, I think it ran Nickelodeon for like 6 episodes or some shit, and then they canceled it.
Right.
But I dug that show. But I also loved all kinds of stupid shit when I was a child. So
that's fair.
Like, I was just very easily impressed with television back in the day.
Well, then again, that was what it was geared towards, right? Like the shows that we watched,
right,
the shows that we enjoyed, were geared towards us. It wasn't us; it was the fact that it was made for us. I mean, look at the Gummy Bears. The Gummy Bears is a stupid fucking idea, but I love that.
Gummy Bears, bouncy here and there.
That's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. The fact of the matter is that shit, 40 years later, it's still in my fucking head. It's still running as I say this. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And also using the one dude who did Garfield's voice to do every fucking kid's voice on TV. It was dude. Right. He was Bankman. He was Garfield. He was fucking Tummy from fucking Gummy Bears or whatever that name was. He was literally everywhere. The second you heard his voice, you're like, "This is a cartoon I can watch."
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true because he even played fucking Bill Murray's part on fucking Real Ghostbusters, bro. Like real time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, random side note, the fucking Winston Zedmore, Ernie Hudson was like y'all know about this, was passed over. He was saying he doesn't sound enough like himself. They gave it to fucking Arsenio Hall or some shit.
What?
Yeah, the Winston Zedmore character, whoever did his voice, I think it might have been Arsenio. You might have to look it up. It was somebody else. The fact is, Ernie Hudson came and tried out for it, and they were like, "No, you don't sound right."
What the fuck?
Right?
What the fuck?
I can kind of see it because back in the day, the technology and the sound booths might not have been able to go up and down like they do now.
I don't know. He was missing off the original too, so I have no idea. There may have been some other shit at play. My guess is they thought it didn't matter.
It probably didn't.
As the
True.
What, 86 Real Ghostbusters came out?
87.
Right?
Yeah, 86. Same year I was born.
So, 1986, and at the time, chances are nobody thought it would matter because the average person watching wouldn't care. And the fact is, most people watching didn't care because they managed to differentiate themselves from the movie enough to become their own thing. Like the Real Ghostbusters was an awesome show. The Boogeyman episode was great. Like that is some like gateway horror shit. That is some terrifying shit.
Yeah.
Well, see, at the same time, the Real Ghostbusters eventually debulbed into a Tom and Jerry like scenario.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was when they came back out as Slimer in the Real Ghostbusters.
Right.
I think was when they rebranded, came out that way, and it just turned into like the animation became better, but the stories became just fucking stupid.
Right. It was Slimer versus the ghost a lot. Or not the ghost, but the cat. Slimer versus the cat.
Very clearly a comedy. Nobody was watching. But then again, that also goes back to the fact that executives or people calling the shots and that own the property don't really understand why it is that people like them. They don't get it.
Well, see, that's another thing. Like As much as I like shows like A Pup Named Scooby Doo and Tom and Jerry Kids and the Flintstone Kids and stuff, I don't understand why we went that route, other than the fact that the originals were for adults. You know, I don't know.
That's it. That's the whole reason. Well, it's also the same. Like you get talking about reboots and the fact that most of our reboots aren't really reboots; they're actually kind of sequels now. Like they're sort of they pick up and they run with where it left off with just enough open for a new viewer to get involved, but most of it's aimed towards us.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And I mean, that is, again, somebody at corporate level being like, well, shit, we know they like it. They'll watch at least a season. Do it.
Right.
Let's see that.
The whole reason we get.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the whole reason we've been getting like sequels to movies like 30 years after the fact too, like Good Burger 2. You know what I mean? Which, you know, don't get me wrong, I loved it because it hit all the feels I was hoping it would. As somebody who loves the first movie,
it was meant for you to enjoy it.
It was meant for people like me who loved the first movie so much that they wanted a sequel. Maybe not even necessarily wanted it, but didn't mind if one was made. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's unfortunate. But then again, it's also I remember watching some interview. I can't remember who was talking about it, but it was a relative. It was like an A-list Hollywood guy talking about the reason why shows are done the way they are now, the reason why movies are done the way they are now. It's because no studio is going to take a chance on anything they know will make money. It's all become pretty much, we know this will guarantee money, we know this won't, and even if it doesn't make what we expect, we can still write it off and turn it into a win for us. So it's always business.
And then along comes Terrifier to prove the studio's completely fucking wrong.
And it's fucking lovely, and the fact that they tried, you know what's though? The fact that not only did they prove it wrong, they're like, oh shit, people actually like it because they just like it, added to which they will show up in record numbers repeatedly to watch it.
Yeah.
The studios have no idea what that fucking means. We're going to get a slew of horror movies over the next 5 years that are just brutal as shit to the point of discomfort. Like, not just like, it's already bad with Terrifier, but there's like, they're going to do their best to push it and show us shit that none of us want to see. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, why don't they like it? I don't get it. Like, he ate that kitten head first. I don't want to watch it. You fucking idiot. Like,
oh no! I mean, a lot of these thrillers and horror movies that are actually really, really good don't make it to the theaters, and they make it on these little streaming apps now.
Yeah.
That's where I've seen some of my favorite horror movies over the past easily 20 years have all been released directly to DVD or directly to streaming.
Right. You don't have to throw millions of dollars at something like that. I mean, it's supposed to be spooky and scary. Make it real. You know what I mean? Not real.
Everybody like wants a good story, and how do you get a good story out of a slasher movie? You know what I mean? It's the same fucking deal over and over. Just
thank you.
Wait, like.
But it's a new reason for doing it. Is it something you can identify with? Perhaps your Game Boy Advance was taken away by your coach. maybe, just maybe.
Yeah.
And then accidentally burst into flames while showering.
But seriously, anytime somebody complains to me about Terrifier's story, I'm like, look, have you watched any slasher movies ever? Like ever?
It's
even Friday the 13th. Like, the first one. Like, yes, the story's there, but it's not great. You know what I mean? No.
It's good enough though. It's enough. It's a mother's revenge, the first one, and then after that, it's a son's revenge.
Yeah. And it just watered down movie after movie after movie.
Unpopular opinion. Jason's like one of the lower tier ones for me. Yeah, he's like OP and strong and can't be killed. Blah blah blah.
Body count to any traditional slasher.
Yeah, but the whole mommy's head and then here's a big giant body, like, motherfucker drowned. How did you come back 6 foot tall?
I think that you're
13 times.
No. If you go by all right, so part 8, right? Jason Goes to Hell. Wait,
Yeah.
no, was it 9? It was 8.
And Jason Goes to Hell is where he basically took over
It's
everybody's
9.
body.
Jason Goes to Hell is part of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason Goes to Hell was written by a fan of the movies, and he wrote the Necronomicon into it, which made Jason a deadite, and suddenly everything becomes understandable and acceptable. Like, you can't even, yeah, that's fair. He's a fucking deadite. That's cool. No complaints after this point. He's a fucking deadite. That's why. He took over bodies afterwards. He made a coroner eat his heart. Why? Because it was beating rhythmically. Fair enough. We accept it.
But if you look at like, they try to get too involved with that. Like, the first couple Halloween movies, they didn't really have a plot end or anything. Like, there was
No,
nothing
they
like a
didn't have a
story,
name.
but,
They had a
like,
shape.
yeah, exactly.
Like
there wasn't this big explanation on what was going on and why. It was just like, this dude has lost his mind. He's gone bonkers and he's killing everybody.
Loomis gives the answer. He was pure evil. That's when everybody's like, oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. Cool.
What you needed.
But was he evil though, or what? Because I mean, dude was like, well, I guess he was a little fucking psychotic from the get go. Scratch that.
Loomis looked into his
I was just gonna be like, for real though, like honestly, dude snapped because he seen his sister get fucked and didn't know how to feel about it. So like,
I mean,
it,
you'd have to say that he was probably a little
Rob Zombie's
if that was enough. Like, if that was enough for him to be like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to get a William Shatner face, turn it inside out, and kill people. If that was his moment, then he was already a little bit. Like, some shit was coming down the pipe eventually. So, either way, so actually, what's fucked up is that supports Loomis's fucking thing. He was just pure evil. Yeah, he fucking was. He was like, Jason was mentally deficient, drowned, and came back to life not knowing where his mommy was. I get why he was angry. He didn't know what was going on. He was sure I can accept it to begin with. Plus, they burned him after he got off on a technicality, and he's an American. By God, nobody's gonna fucking put up with that bullshit as an American. He just kept fucking knew what he was doing in dreams. Makes sense. He got back. He's the underdog. We're all very proud of him. Leatherface, not his fault. They were hungry in the remix. Well, actually, the originals too, fair enough. They were hungry. That's just how he was raised. He didn't know. Not a problem. Art.
Still trying to figure that one out.
No, art stands out for the reason that it is just for the sheer enjoyment of the insanity involved. The evil side of things, just doing it because it's fucking bad.
Yeah.
From what we can tell, yeah.
Well, it's okay. So I think I'm right about it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm right. If you look at the first Terrifier, I don't know how this fucking happened, but here we are. The first Terrifier, he was human. He was still human up until the end.
Yeah.
When he got killed. When he got killed, he came
as far as we know, anyway. Yeah.
Well, I think 100% because even the makeup, like what's weird, like if you watch the first, second, and third one after another, his face is slowly changing.
Yeah.
Even in the second one, it was different than the first. The third one, it was way different than either the second or the first. But more importantly, his eyes have been fucking bleaching as he went.
I've noticed that.
Like, I don't know that they planned it to be that way. I don't think they planned it to be that way. I think that Damien Leone is going back after being like, shit, I have to come up with another one. We are making way too much money. Is everybody in? I believe that he's rewriting and basically just redoing things to make sure it all fits afterwards. I think he has a solid idea of where to go now, and I believe that's what Part 3 set up. I think Part 3 is a setup to a legitimate finale to the storyline.
Yeah.
Even the Sierra thing in Part 2, I think maybe like he had sort of an idea, but it didn't matter because fuck it, here we are. Still gonna make it brutal. Everybody's gonna watch it, which was true. But the whole idea of like art slowly becoming less human and more demonic, and Sierra becoming less human and more angelic, and then losing the thing that made her so it raises the stakes for Part 4. But by the way, everybody seems to have missed the fact that Art lost the thing that made him too. Like it's his little demon influence thing is gone.
Yeah.
But he's not human anymore. I don't know. Either way, like I said, this was a weird fucking topic to get off on after nostalgia and cartoon.
Yeah.
The point of the matter is Art stands out.
That's a whole conversation for another episode.
I'm just saying Art stands out as a slasher thing. That's all. I'm just saying
he absolutely does.
He's a little separate than the angry dude with the fucking hockey mask and the burnt guy who was fucking burned even though he got off.
Yeah.
And, like everybody had a revenge reason. That's not Art's thing. Art's thing is just fucking mayhem.
I think, like Silence won over with like Michael Myers and stuff. But like Art, he's not silent. He speaks volumes. Just you have to understand
without his voice.
You know what I mean? Like his facial expressions tell every story he needs to say. Like every emotion he pours out. Like he's such an animated character, and I think that wins a lot of people over.
Shit, maybe that's what we've needed too, though. Because I mean, the what is another silent horror icon that existed at any point in the 20 years leading up to Art? I mean, because obviously you always had Michael Myers, as was already mentioned. Yeah. Jason clearly doesn't fucking speak and so forth. Then you have Freddy, who speaks too much. You have Leatherface, who also doesn't talk, but he screams.
Yeah.
And so forth and so on. Maybe the last actually quiet thing that should have started a franchise that didn't was Mary Todd. Maybe from Dead Silence.
Yeah.
Like she was quiet, but even
Mary Shaw.
Mary Shaw, that's it. Mary Shaw.
Yeah, Mary Shaw.
Mary Todd was Abraham Lincoln's wife.
Yeah, no, she's pretty brutal too. You didn't see her. Everybody thinks she was the I'm gonna stick with Mary Todd. I'm sticking with Mary Todd. I think Abraham Lincoln's wife now.
No, what else is there? How'd we get here? How did we get?
No, it fucking happens every time. I'm not happy. I want to talk about Legos. I got Legos. We talk
Legos.
You guys want to see?
Oh, yeah. What did you get for
Schneider as a Lego? I can make that happen. I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
Little Chief Brody there for you.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, it's on the Lego set. It's on the Lego set. On the Lego set, there's a fucking tile that says we're gonna need a bigger boat. It goes on the front of the Lego set. Sorry, I was looking at
Look at that note. Call this one. I think we've run out of ideas.
Yeah, I think so. I think we run out of topics here.
But cartoons, the fucking Terrifier, Chief Brody.
For those watching,
pretty much on the whole horror movie topic right there. Just, I don't know, man. Like, be honest with you, I kind of like only watch specific types of horror movies, and the slasher things ain't really there. It's got to be like, it's got to pull me in and stuff for me to be there. Like, I like that off the wall bullshit. You know what I mean? Off the wall type shit.
If it's funny, like, I love comedy horror.
Right.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Something that's gonna make you like wonder: is this dude a Nazi? Is this dude a spy? You know, shit like that.
Yeah, mindfuck horror.
Well, like Jacob's Ladder or something like that. When you get it, like there are some that like the stories suck you in. The violence is secondary to the actual story. That's some cerebral shit that I fucking adore. The problem is they don't really make it that much anymore, except for direct-to-streaming titles.
Apt Pupil.
Find it on accident.
That movie is insane.
Which one?
What was it?
Apt Pupil.
Oh, Apt Pupil.
Yeah.
You know what's, okay, so Stephen King, right? Apt Pupil was a Stephen King story. There were 4 stories in different seasons. 3 of them were made movies. One of them was optioned and has never been made. It was called The Breathing Method. I very much would like to see that turned into a movie.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure how they would do it. It would have an incredibly dark scene.
Right.
Which is my guess as to why they haven't done
Could be, yeah.
Oh, this was
fun. Yeah. Oh, this was a fun conversation for sure. But
we'll do
we
it.
have been here yeah. But for those watching who are wondering why they can't access our page right now on Facebook, we're working on it. We'll leave it at that.
3 years ago.
We've been bad,
Yeah,
bad
right.
boys.
Apparently. But Charles, my man, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man.
Thank y'all for having me. And sorry I ain't much of a talker tonight. I'm just trying to listen and get through the holidays myself. So
No, it's all good. Totally understand.
Not having talked for a while either, though. This isn't your fault. This is us.
nah, it's,
We do this,
things happen.
but no, we'll definitely.
It is what it is on a lot of it.
Shit happens.
We'll get back on our feet. We'll be back to weekly.
We will.
It will happen. This was a good time.
It
to
will.
I thought this was.
Yeah.
We got what? Less than a week left in the year, so
Jesus.
good things are coming.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Got to make a way if it don't.
Yep. Onward and upward, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Hey, Graham.
Till next time.
Guys, it was good.
They're squirmy and wormy and purple and green, the grossest little creatures that you've ever seen. Creepy crawlers. Build a monster mold with the colored plastic goop and make a creepy crawler from a yucky monster soup. They're ucky, yucky, squirmy, wormy, very scary, sometimes hairy, squiggly, wiggly, creepy crawling. Creepy crawlers. Gross out your sister, embarrass your dad. You can be a little creep without being bad.
Creepy Crawlers Workshop with Plastic Goof.
This is sizzling action. It's Batman. At his best. Crime has gotten messy since Clayface came to town. Ready to take charge, it's Lightning Strike Batman.
Eat dirt, Batman.
He's down. So it's Nightstar Batman's turn to get rid of this mound of mud.
Now what's up?
Here's Batman in his Arrow Bat, flipping out to put an end to this mess. Figures and vehicle each sold separately. Batman, the best just got better.